Michelle, she should change her name to Misery Obama. That's really what I think of when Misery Obama never has a positive word to say. Never. Not about children, not about family, certainly not about her husband. By the way, before we leave this topic, here's her latest soundbite that made the rounds. This happened on June 18th, but I was off. Here it is, 39.
You should have threw a boy in the mix.
I would. I'm so glad I didn't have a boy.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a Barack Obama.
Baby Barack. It would have been amazing.
No, I would have felt for him.
What happens when a former First Lady crosses paths with a mic drop from Megyn? Kelly total mayhem Michelle Obama walked straight into a verbal storm, and Megyn spun the dial to full blast, from artificial charm to hollow speeches Megyn stripped. The glossy surface, like peeling a flimsy sticker off a discount lunchbox. If you believed the Obamas were beyond reproach, think again. This was a sharp, sarcastic dismantling impossible to overlook.
Speaking of people who continue to play the victim even though they're not, here is today's daily dose of Michelle Obama, who has been out there trying to promote her terrible podcast that has absolutely no fan following. And she decided everything she says and does is a complaint. Everything. And so she winds up talking to Tina Knowles, also better known as Beyonce's mother, about marriage and divorce, which is Michelle's favorite topic, one of them at least. Number one is how much she hates her time as First Lady. She hated it. And number two, I mean, you could go either way, how racist the country is and how much she can't stand it. And then we're coming in, at least in the top three, is her negative comments about...
Michelle seemed ready to glide through the spotlight again, waving as if choreographing praise from wide-eyed media interns, but Megyn Kelly entered with cold clarity and an unmistakable smirk, and just like that, the glittering illusion began to fall apart.
Barack Michelle Obama appearance, the podcast, because everybody thinks they're getting a divorce, and let's face it, they probably are. She dragged him onto her show with brother Craig, and the following took place. Here's how it started in SOT 36.
Barack Obama, can
Michelle's brand has always resembled a polished luxury treehouse. It's perched above the public camera, ready and sustained by invisible support beams of media worship. But when someone finally flips, the lights on and reveals the flaws, the illusion starts to dissolve.
I genuinely think she meant what she said. Oh God, I'd have another Barack Obama on my hands, and who the hell wants that? I mean, we kind of can relate, but whatever, it's fine. It's different. We're the general public. But it was so funny. Like, I'll show the audience one other thing. Yesterday we had on Ruthless, and Josh Holmes was saying you should show some outtakes because we showed a tease. I'm like, you know what? We should show some outtakes. So they cut a couple of you and me, and we were sitting there, and just how funny it was because she's so absurd. We had no idea she was this negative.
With the accuracy of a seasoned critic and the calm of someone who waited years to be proven right, Megyn sliced through Michelle's royalty act like it was marked. Down clearance because, let's be honest, the only thing more routine than Michelle's, I'm just like you, but also your idle performance, is the media collapsing into admiration each time she nears a microphone.
And going to therapy and just figuring out, like, what happened those 8 years we were in the White House?
What happened that 8 years?
What did that do to me internally, my soul?
No one talks about this.
No, they don't.
We made it through.
We got out alive.
I hope we made the country proud.
My girls are whole.
But what happened to me?
What happened to...
Michelle steps into view, repeating her familiar when they go low mantra, while simultaneously tossing thinly veiled jabs with the energy of someone upset. They missed wine night at the neighbors. Her contradictions are so ingrained in her public image, it's surprising she hasn't branded hypocrisy and stocked it at a health food chain.
She talks about like her time in the White House, Barack running. It's all negative on this new podcast. I mean, it's exactly what we thought. It's very clear she hated being First Lady. She hated being in Washington. She doesn't like the fact that Barack was president. I mean, she just has nothing but negative things to say. Here's just one small, she doesn't like openly get, caustic, but she makes it pretty.
She parades around acting too refined for politics while her actions scream First Lady reboot like a surprise album from a long-retired artist. But no one is pressing play because we're still dealing with the first round. Megyn wasn't swayed. Not by the fake humility, not the Ivy League glow, not the tales of struggle that somehow include elite internships and sparkling credentials. Oh yes, tell the story again of hardship while sipping tea in a multi-million-dollar home. Her attempts at relatability feel like someone searched everyday struggles and printed them on cue cards. Forgot your lunch war. Braces such agony. Meanwhile, everyday people are choosing between rent and groceries as Michelle encourages them to focus on self-care from a recliner that costs more than their rent, and Megyn took those well-rehearsed sympathy stories and scattered them like confetti, not with malice, but with a dry tone that clearly said, no one believes the glossy version of your backstory anymore. At some point, the fairy tale fails when the castle's mortgage is on public record.
Woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for herself. She is criticizing Barack Obama or this country. She never has a positive word to say about anything. And the latest example was when she went on this other guy's podcast, Jay Shetty. She goes and sits down with him, and he asks her, what are you afraid of? And she starts off by saying, well, it's not, my fears aren't for me. You know, I think about the streets. My fears aren't for me.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants.
I mean, I travel in a 4-car motorcade.
Let's also acknowledge the fashion parade disguised as activism. Michelle shows up at charity events dressed. It's like she's hosting a red carpet event while talking about staying grounded. Nothing says down to earth, like a jumpsuit worth a semester of tuition. She's one designer code away from forming a monarchy. Megyn pointed out that Michelle doesn't just want the spotlight. She wants it complete with lighting applause and admiration no matter what she says, and the moment someone questions it, the narrative shifts suddenly. It's not about the issue, it's about how the world is not ready for her. A convenient shield she uses whenever reality gets too uncomfortable.
You should have threw a boy in the mix.
I'm so glad I didn't have a boy.
Yeah.
Because he would have been a Barack Obama.
It's like baby Barack. It would have been amazing.
Ooh, no, I would have felt for him.
She just borrowed our boys.
Yes, I got plenty.
Wow.
Did you catch that? She's glad she didn't have a boy because he would have been a Barack Obama. And that's a hard pass for her. This woman can't stand him. She can't.
Wait a minute. Now I like her. She prevented another Barack in the world. The Iranian regime quakes.
The act never changes. A few tears, a call to her roots, a reminder. She never sought fame, yet she's graced more magazine covers than most global leaders. And for someone who dislikes the political mess, she sure knows how to stir it up with compliments. Aimed at herself, the contradiction is glaring. Michelle calls for unity, but every speech drips with a tone so smug it could be used as frosting her hopeful message. Now sounds like a passive-aggressive lecture claiming the audience simply lacks the insight to understand her genius. Megyn didn't need to raise her voice or throw insults. She just calmly pulled the pieces apart, and suddenly, Michelle's wardrobe of public admiration looked more like borrowed blazers and recycled one-liners. Her strategy is older than daytime dramas, include just enough victimhood to avoid accountability, sprinkle vague affirmations to appear wise, and surf on nostalgia. Remember that garden? Yes. And then your chef harvested it while your team drafted a press release.
I love the way you talk about the need to get your independence, because your marriage wasn't always what it should have been.
Right.
Okay, so she's going right in, like, independence is what it's about. Of course, you had a shitty marriage. I can totally relate. And then, can I just show you one more? Look at SOT 23. No, I'm sorry. It's the VO6, where the two of them get up and they start dancing. And this is part of the Michelle Obama attempted reinvention. I'm sorry, but I'm not impressed. To make herself into something cool. Here she is again. Make herself into something cool, Walter, that like we can relate to. She's a cool girl because she was first lady. and that she can get up there and dance with Beyonce's mom. I'm sorry, but all I can think is you hate.
And let's not overlook her convenient silence, because that too is part of the plan. When the tough questions come, Michelle turns into a vague coach with selective memory. Suddenly, everything is about collective growth and raising strong girls, while never quite addressing how every criticism comes an attack on womanhood. It's a clever distraction turn the conversation just enough, so anyone questioning her gets painted as bitter or ignorant in Michelle's universe. Disagreement is treated like blasphemy, and Megyn showed up with a flashlight and a megaphone. And when it comes to building a brand, Michelle didn't just release a memoir, she launched a full emotional cinematic universe. That book wasn't a story, it was a luxury-guided self-journey, sponsored by high-end grocery chains, boutique gyms, and Oprah's Ghost Club. Each chapter was wrapped in scented importance. Like vulnerability was a luxury purse only brought out during media tours. There's genuine honesty, and then there's hiring a ghostwriter to turn a morning jog into spiritual enlightenment, followed by a smoothie and a speech.
Pain. We have to become tougher for the sake of our kids. And I just don't think that there's any way around making this easy for parents. I think that that's what we...
Parenting is never easy.
It's not supposed to be. And it's not fun. You know, life isn't fair. And that's another lesson for kids to learn.
That's right.
It's not fun. It's painful having children. It's not fun.
And she wonders why, as she told Amy Poehler, her daughters run the other way when she opens her mouth to offer what is surely unsolicited advice.
Like, I look back on my own experience with my kids. Yeah, it's hard when they're very little. It's a lot more hard work than, now my kids are 15, 14, and almost 12. But it's still fun. They're so cute. I don't know a mother who would look back at years 1 through 13 and say, it's gonna be bad. Those 13 years, they're bad. The kids are a hassle. And then doubles down here saying parenting is not fun, it's painful.
Then came Megyn. No fire, no outrage, just the emotional equivalent of a paperclip and a raised eyebrow. She didn't attack, she just waved a tiny flag of reality, and suddenly, Michelle's fog of inspiration started to clear. Megyn simply held up a mirror, no neon signs, no drama, just the question, does any of this add up? And that was enough to make Michelle's platform of affirmations start to wobble like a motivational tower made of cards, her diplomacy. Style is like being lightly hit with a silk pillow full of judgment. She doesn't respond. She redirects, which is another way of saying she delivers passive jabs wrapped in sweaters. The media swallows it like handcrafted wisdom served on artisan platters, while the rest of us sit there wondering, did she just call someone irrelevant by saying interesting 3 times?
My own experience with my kids, yeah, it's hard when they're very little. It's a lot more hard work than, now my kids are 15, 14, and almost 12. But it's still fun. They're so cute. I don't know a mother who would look back at years 1 through 13 and say, it's gonna be bad. Those 13 years, they're bad. The kids are a hassle. And then doubles down here saying parenting is not fun, it's painful.
But Megyn came through like a librarian during finals week. All clarity, no nonsense. She didn't blink while Michelle's fans clutched their monogrammed bags. Megyn simply noted that someone constantly surrounded by applause might not be the best. Judge of authenticity, live in an echo chamber long enough, and clapping starts sounding like truth and yoga poses. Start feeling like protests, and just like that, the flawless image of Michelle as the nation's beloved guide began to unravel. No explosion, just a quiet smirk and a very inconvenient reflection.
Still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here. Here's one from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it.
And the things were, there was a line of people waiting to shake hands with our respective husbands, people reaching over our heads and spilling water on us, trying to get to these two, illustrious men.
And that's annoying because she's supposed to be the star. Michelle Obama. This dovetails perfectly with so many other comments she's made about how she is, like, what about...
Let's not forget the savior syndrome. Michelle speaks as though she's above the mess, untouched by scandal, an eternal beacon floating above the rest. Yet she's fully entrenched in the same games, just in heels, and with a tone that implies she walks on air. Every photo, every appearance, every cameo is soaked in the same self-reverence of someone who genuinely believes their podcast is changing the world. Spoiler alert, it's not, but it sure has great sound for patting oneself on the back. Megyn didn't attack. She just let the air out of the myth and revealed the luxury basket below, because behind every heartfelt quote, there's a brand. Behind every tear, there's a publishing contract, and behind every perfect snapshot is a team saying, now look thoughtful.
Knowing that there are divorce rumors and, she's not showing up for him, whether it's at the Jimmy Carter funeral or the Trump inauguration or the basketball game he just went to in LA, when visiting their daughters and then dinner with the daughters was not there. Here she is talking about it. If it were me, I would say something nice about him. I would say, like, he's just so charming. It was meant to be. I knew he could heal the earth in the way he did. There was only one person who could do it, and it was my husband, Barack Obama, whatever. Then she gets on to talking a little bit about him personally, and this is how that sounded.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you got to stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much time to come
to check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out.
You stayed for 2 days because that's how long it took to check everything. And now, Barack walks in and out, asking, are y'all still here? Michelle's post-presidency life has been a one-woman show, where she plays every part, the humble guide, the wise leader, the misunderstood icon. But once Megyn entered the theater and asked for the emergency exits, the illusion flickered, and the media lost their minds. How dare anyone question her? But the truth is, if Michelle keeps injecting herself into public conversation, she should expect occasional accountability. And Megyn provided it with a grin and a gentle nudge. So now, Michelle's camp is likely working on the next memoir, maybe called More Becoming or Still Rising, explaining how criticism only proves her courage, because of course nothing says bravery like being softly questioned by someone, not hypnotized by the brand.
If you add it all up, even the year, if the odds were you're going to be married to your partner for 50 years and 10 of those years could be bad.
Is it, Michelle? It's not. I've been married for 17 and a half years and not one was bad. I think she and he married.
And in the end, Michelle's glow isn't indestructible. It's just gone unchallenged. For so long, people forgot to look closely. Megyn did, and when she did, she saw through the lace curtains and straight to the shelf labeled untouchable. Then she calmly tipped it over, and now Michelle's fans are scrambling to pretend nothing fell, but everyone saw it. The light dimmed. The shine cracked, the myth took a hit, and all it took was one person, one voice, and a dose of truth in Michelle's world. Built on flattery and filters, that might be the most damaging blow of all.